2011. 0602 Multiverse. The cosmos splits into parallel universes in which all conceivable outcomes of all events take place. The universe is a part of a larger multiverse. Quantum mechanics equations say the cosmos exists in different states simultaneously. Superposition states collapse into a single state. Electrons and photons remain in superposition states, yet large objects do not. Explained in Schrodinger's cat experiment, a vial of poison breaking open. When a radioactive atom decays in sealed box, all in superposition states, decayed and not decayed, broken and unbroken, dead and alive at the same time. The entire universe exists in superposition states that leak away to leave what we see. The space contain all information in the universe. In all things with which the universe will interact in the future, a causal patch is region. Universe is one causal patch among many cosmos of differing regions. Inside a big multiverse, information leaking from a causal patch into others, our universe decoheres into the state we observe. Boso and Susskind thus explains. The many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, the cosmos splits into multiple parallel identical universes. In one, a cat survives, and another cat dies in an infinite number of parallel universes, where all conceivable outcomes of all events actually happen, called alternative realities, splitting from other universes. The global multiverse represents a many worlds theory in single geometry. Okay, this is some seemingly, I don't know, doesn't quite seem like a poem, but anyway, by somebody named Margaret Alice.
That's what I was thinking.
And I just picked this one because, I don't know, that just came, like, I was like, doing a search, right?
It's like prose. It's like a... It's not like a poem I've ever heard before. But wait. Hold
on a second. But I jumped the gun. What is this? All right. This is SG2 on Space, episode 194. We are planning to talk about the many worlds theory, which we've talked about before, but why not? We're going to do it again. So what is this? Like I said, youtube.com, hopefully watching this at Shingo/streams. Once again, we're the only weekly space show, as far as I know, that has been active for so many years. Support the show, patreon.com/SG2 on space. With that, let me bring on
the only space show in the universe.
In the
multiverse. In this universe.
Or I was just saying, yeah, why not? In the
multiverse. We're going to talk about many worlds. So it's different.
Who's this guy? Who is this guy? Yeah, who are you?
You'd have to look at my nameplate. My name tag. I don't know.
Your name? Does it say anything? It says quantum field theorist, but now we got to change that. What's your name today?
Otis.
What?
Nothing.
Otis?
A lot of times when I make make restaurant reservation, I'll say Dr. Kramer. I don't think it helps, but also I'm kind of afraid somebody will get sick and they'll come to me. I go, no, I'm not that kind of doctor,
Okay.
So, yeah.
So like that.
Okay.
Right, I guess that's you for today.
So what are we doing tonight?
Well, I mean, this is a topic that we've talked about before, but I figure we're going to it again. People seem to, people like yourself included, seem to enjoy going into discussing what exactly is this concept of many worlds.
Well, it's not only that, but quantum mechanics. So
and the quantum mechanics that's around it. Yeah.
So we have a problem. Quantum mechanics there is an issue with it. So, but so the idea about mechanics is like with Newtonian physics is if we know the state of the universe at a given time, then that tells us what the state of the universe will be in the future. And so when we've mentioned that many times, quantum mechanics on the scale of very small objects like electrons and photons and so forth, there's the equations of motion are follow a different kind of physics, and so we have this thing called Schrodinger's equation, and that is the equation that determines the probabilities of things that happen. So we don't know what's actually going to happen, but we have a probability of what will happen. And I see that as just like the essential thing. That's the deal. So we've talked about the double
What do you
slit
mean?
experiment.
We have. What do you mean
Yeah.
by that's all? That's the essential thing.
Well, we've talked about the double slit experiment, right? So where we pass a photon through two close slits together, and it forms an interference pattern. And so if a photon scatters off a double slit, then it ends up someplace on the screen. Remember how we talked about that?
Mm-hmm.
No. So so what I propose is that that's all there is to it. I mean, it's that you just see the what we witness is the photon appearing on the screen, and that this equation determines the probability. It's not the probability directly. It's something like the square root of the probability, but not the square root exactly. It's more like it's like something with another dimension, and so we use these complex numbers, so there's a phase to it. So it's like something is rotating around really quickly, and then the two paths will interfere with each other, but it's the two paths together that interfere, and the electron or the photon ends up on the screen somewhere. So that's quantum mechanics. And that when it ends up on the screen, we often talk about this idea that, well, the wave function has collapsed. I don't think the wave function has actually collapsed. I think that it's just become incoherent. In other words, it started to interact with with thermal particles. Maybe some chemistry has gone on, or that kind of thing. And so the wave function from that point on continues to propagate outward into many different tentacles of reality. But at the point where you observe it, the probability of where it is becomes unity, and then you continue on from there. And that's absolutely essential for the theory to work. I'm not sure I'm making my point clear. Here's the double slit experiment. So we see all these smooth curves, but what actually happens is that the photon scatters off of the double slit over there on the left, and it ends up somewhere on the screen. And that could be an electron. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a photon or an electron. It's this mysterious essence of two paths that will interfere, and the paths themselves create the interference, and thus the probability of the photon being found, the electron. I keep saying photon, but the electron being found on the screen.
Right.
So if we let one photon through, or one electron through at a time, it will hit at a particular point, and then if we keep letting them in one after another, it will gradually build up that interference pattern that we see. So now the thing is, other people have tried to understand what is the reality behind all of this. What's the underlying reality? And
What
there's
is
this
the reality?
well,
Mm-hmm.
that
Go on.
that is the question. So that's the question. But there's this fascinating idea that when the electron hits the screen, it could have hit somewhere else, right? Or it could have hit anywhere on the screen, distributed according to that probability. And so some people, Sean Carroll, I think he's from Caltech in particular, has made a little YouTube career out of talking up this many worlds hypothesis. Now, he's not the first person to bring this up. There was a PhD student, and I don't remember where he went, named Hugh Everett. I don't know where he was going to school, but he came up with the idea. Hey, listen, maybe all of the worlds, maybe when the photon scatters, it splits into many worlds, an infinite number of worlds, and they all end up on the screen in a particular pattern, and then that solves the whole problem, because we don't have this mystery of wave collapse. And you know, I don't think that that problem solves anything, but there does seem to be a lot of fascination with it, and I think it has more to do with the psychological notion, or the neat idea that people like there's there's an infinite number of Shens that are watching this, that
Yeah,
are
so
doing this right now, and
I mean,
some
it's a common trope in science fiction, that's for sure.
right.
So
And
go on.
and so
Yeah.
what is it? Doctor Strange, is that in the
Yeah.
Marvel universe, and
Yeah.
so forth, and that different things have happened. Of course, his universe, the Marvel universe, it's a little bit different because there the laws of physics are being swapped around.
So
For the many,
Marvel. Sorry, go on.
in the many worlds, we just have one physics, and the problem, the reason it's not a solution to the problem is that physics has to talk about our world. Okay, so it doesn't help to say that there are many worlds, because you need to answer the question, which world are we following? And so whether we have the electron scattering off the double slit and ending up at angle theta, or angle phi, or angle alpha,
And
you
ending up
know,
at
so,
angle.
yeah, so each one of those is a separate universe. We have to decide we're going to be in one of those, so that's the it doesn't resolve that. It just dazzles you with this fascinating idea that there are many, multiple universes, or multiple worlds. So I would just like to get that question answered. It's like, how have you solved anything in our world, and in the conventional observations that we make in the world that we're in? The electron ends up at angle theta. Okay, it could have been at alpha, all right, but it wasn't. It was at theta. So in your many worlds hypothesis, what is the physics that carries you into theta rather than alpha, or vice versa? So it doesn't solve that problem, and it still gets to, you have to have this, like, you still have to have the wave collapse, or if you don't have the wave function collapse, you have to select a path, and that's just sort of glossed over. And I actually think it's because the whole notion of quantum mechanics has to do with probabilities and making predictions about the future. We don't have a wave function that we don't use the wave function to find out what happened in the past. I mean, we know what happened in the past, right? So that's all I wanted to say about it. I wanted to say I think that the many worlds hypothesis that I see on all these YouTube videos and promoted so enthusiastically, I just think it doesn't solve any problem, and I'm open to somebody telling me, explaining that to me. So that's what I had to say about that. The end. You need to unmute. Unmute. Shen.
Unmute. It
Yeah.
sounds like a good idea. So you're not really a proponent of the many worlds theory.
I am not. I think that it's a psychological phenomenon. I think it's fascinating to people for them to think about this idea that there's many me's, going through life, but none of them are having as great a life as I am. Let's put it that way.
So in the many universes of that has Leonard around, you're saying you are living in the best possible Leonard universe?
I'm living in the best possible Leonard universe. Yes, absolutely.
Oh my gosh. So the best possible Leonard universe is doing a show on talking about the best Leonard in the universe in the kitchen of his
what I think
right now.
That's what I think. But I don't think that there are. I think many worlds is just a. I don't want to talk about, well, where's all the energy coming from, or how can you, I don't want to talk about that. It's just that it doesn't solve any problem. We still have the problem. We still have the problem when the electron scatters off of the double slit, it does something random. Okay. And physics teachers don't like I've never heard a physics teacher emphasize that, when or a book. It does something. It's a random number generator, and it generates this random number according to a particular distribution, and everything is like that. So all of this randomness is the issue. In other words, the stochastic nature of it. I think it's all solved. And there's some other issues with non-locality, which we've talked about before, in that you can make a measurement of entangled particles that are widely separated from each other, and it will tell you the answer. So you can have a look at one of the entangled particles, and it will tell you what the same measurement on the other particle will be. But not only that, it will tell you what the measurements in other aspects, like if you're measuring polarization of this other particle, it's going to be correlated with the first particle in a particular way that is consistent with the superposition of the wave function, of a complex wave function. So it means that there's something being communicated. There's something being communicated, but it's a random digit that's being communicated non-locally, and that's still a problem. But the many worlds hypothesis doesn't address that either. So sometimes you'll hear people say that it's solved all of the problems, and it's done none of that.
It doesn't solve any problem. That's what you're saying.
It doesn't. It's equally
problematic.
It's equally problematic, but it's more fun. Okay, I would say it's a more fun kind of answer. So we can go with it just on that basis, but
and you don't want to base a theory on something just because it's more fun.
Well, I mean it. That's debatable, but I mean, I guess it's okay. It's good to think about it. You might be able to think of some kind of testable hypothesis if we were able to show that maybe we're connected, or we're able to communicate with a multiverse in some way. But I don't think there is any physics, that would allow that. Or that admits that. Let's see. What was I going to say about I
was gonna, before you go on, if anybody is interested, this is a great website, Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy.
Right, philosophy. Right. So.
Well, I mean, like, it's interesting in that it actually talks about physics here. Like, this entire thing in their philosophy department. You can actually look at what else they have here, but they have a lot. And one of the things that they do have is the many worlds theory. Again. So, which is kind of
well, is it a theory? It's sort of an interpretation.
Or interpretation.
But we still have the problem, and actually the first time I ever heard about the many worlds hypothesis, maybe it was, I don't know, 10 years ago, is the first thing that occurred to me. Well, I mean, you have to decide. Everybody's enthralled about it. Oh, that solves everything, but it doesn't tell you which universe you're going. It does. You, in your journey through the many worlds, you pick one path. Well, that's the same thing as the random stochastic path that we have with the wave collapse. Right? It's the same point, same thing that's happening. So one thing is that one of the things I might notice is that consciousness. We're not.
Tell me about consciousness.
Yeah, we're only conscious of one of the worlds, but wouldn't it be cool to do some kind of sci-fi thing where there was a character who was conscious of going? Yeah, he was conscious of all of the multiverse, many worlds at once.
Some people have said they've gone into other worlds when they are, doing certain things.
Yeah, mushrooms.
I'm not saying I've done anything like that. I would say might be an interesting experience. Who knows?
Right.
If you alter your state of consciousness, I'm not saying you're actually seeing a different different multiverse, but you're definitely whatever you're seeing, you're interpreting this one differently. That's for sure.
Yeah.
If
So
that is true.
so anyway, that's all I wanted to. That's the only point I wanted to make on this show tonight.
Okay.
And if you want to talk about something else, you know.
What else could I possibly talk about? I mean, this goodness. I mean, what do you want me to say here?
Yeah.
What else is there to talk about? Let's see.
Well,
I could talk about. Hey, what is that? You know, there are people who talk about them actually going into other worlds. You might think they're crazy.
I don't know. I'm open to all kinds of things.
Well,
so I have an open mind.
Gone to other worlds.
Gone
One day
to
I have to.
worlds.
The top 10 real people who visited parallel. Okay, well, I used to be able to see other worlds, and I remember. Okay, yeah. So there's a whole Reddit channel that I'm like a kind of into, called Glitch in the Matrix.
I've tried to get into Reddit. I don't understand how to use it.
Okay.
So.
But
go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So Glitch in the Matrix is great because like it's all about how like people are like going to different universes. I mean, let's take a look at some of these. I'm going to read a few.
Well, before you do, I actually have had fleeting experiences with things like that, and I many years ago, maybe 20 years ago, I had not had. This has to do with M&Ms. You know, the little candy M&Ms. Hello.
Yes, I'm still here. I'm trying to find a good story while you're talking.
Okay, continue. You're preoccupied. But so I had not eaten M&Ms for many years, and about I'm sure it was about 20 years ago. I was in a conference meeting with somebody, and somebody brought M&Ms, and they put them in a little dish, and I looked at the M&Ms, and I saw blue M&Ms.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you're too young to remember, but. There's no such thing as blue M&Ms, or at least in the old days, very many years ago, 30, 40 years ago, there was no such thing as blue M&Ms. They were yellow, brown, and green. And that's it.
I did not know that.
You know, sometimes they would have special like red and green, like for Christmas, but they were yellow, brown, and red. Yellow, brown, and red. Okay.
So there were no blue ones, but you saw green ones.
But somebody produced an M&Ms with and so what I had learned later was that the company that makes M&Ms introduced a blue color, and I was not aware of it, and so it rather startled me, and I thought just for a fleeting moment, for the moment that there was a glitch in the Matrix, and that they had that the overrulers of the universe of the Matrix had made a mistake, and they had blue M&Ms. But I'm not a paranoid, and so I did recover from that. So it was a very strange experience.
So let me read a few stories here. I have not read any of these. These are Reddit posts.
Okay.
Glitch in the Matrix. Okay, so this person, guy, girl, whomever, wrote missing right socks. All right. Some years back, I lived alone in a studio apartment in a building close to my work. I like to sleep to, well, this person is a little strange. Not really, actually. Do I ever sleep? No. Okay, whatever. I'm just going to read this. I like to sleep in socks. And when I lived in this apartment, I will wake up with a sock missing from my right foot. I look in the sheets and enter the bed, no right sock. This happened at least once a week, and it was always a sock from my right foot.
Wow.
I lived in the building for 2 years, and when I moved, I did not find any of the missing socks. I didn't have a pet or a friend with spare keys at the time. There should have been 100+ socks from my right foot somewhere near the bed when I moved, but I never found them. All right.
I don't know.
I'm going to say very strange. All right, there you go. That's my comment.
Very strange. Have you discussed this with anyone?
Okay, and here's another one. My shorts suddenly appeared in the wrong place. This happened today, maybe 3 minutes ago. I'm so sure my shorts were upstairs in my bedroom. I have a clear memory of me coming home yesterday after swimming practice and putting on my gray shorts. while wearing the new green crew neck that I got. I'll put on my pajama pants, but this time they were upstairs. And okay, sometimes I'm kind of scared to go upstairs. Anyway, I wore the shorts the rest of the day, went upstairs to my bedroom to go to bed and took off my shorts there. Today, when I woke up, I remember searching for my socks and remembered I put them on my chair under my shorts I was wearing the day before. So I already said I have a very clear memory of that. Today, my mom asked me to take out my clean clothes out of the clothes that had been in the dryer, and guess what? There were my shorts. The shorts that I had upstairs. After thinking about it for 7 seconds, I remember that this morning, after I got ready for school, I took my pajama pants with me downstairs. I already said sometimes it's too scared.
I get it.
All right.
They returned from an alternate universe.
And then here, this one, oh, this has 55 views, so it must be good. Okay, collective amnesia. Okay, I'm going to read this, a little bit of this. This happened this weekend. My son plays soccer. He's 8 years old and went to a regular match on Saturday at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Game started, and I realized I didn't have change since always at halftime we give $1 per kid in support of the soccer league. So inside the park, there was a store about 100 meters away.
Yeah.
The first half was about to end. Just as I go to the store, I asked for change. I walked, and I heard cheerings from the field my son was playing. I looked behind to see what happened, but I was not able to see clearly what happened. So I went to the store to have change, and I came back to the field, and the first half was just over. My son came over to me and said, I scored a goal. And I was like, really? I'm sorry. I went to the store to get some change. And he was just like, okay. So the second half started, and here's where it gets weird. I asked one of the parents if my son scored in the first half, and he was confused. His face said it all, and he said, honestly, I don't remember. And I was like, okay. During the second half, I asked about 5 or 6 parents, I didn't ask all of them, about my son's goal, and no one remembered if he scored. I even asked his coach, and he didn't remember it. And I was like, WTF. How is it possible that nobody remembers if my son scored or not? And I say this because we always count every goal or any incident that happens. And I even heard the cheerings when I went to the store, and these came from my son's match. Even the coach asked my son at the end of the match if he scored, and he said yes. So my last resource was a referee, but I noticed the coach was speaking to the referee after I asked him if my son scored. So I asked the referee, and he said yes, he scored, but he didn't write it in his card. I noticed he was a little confused also, like if he just said yes to avoid any misunderstanding or something like that. My son was really happy afterwards, so it was clear that my son scored that day, but how is it possible that many of the parents of my son's team don't remember if he scored? Well, I have no idea. That is strange. It's like somebody wiped their minds, I guess, or you went into a different universe.
I don't know.
And then, okay, so this is going to be the last one I'm going to read. All right, 758. Well, 753, I guess. That's all right.
Yep.
So it's going to be taking a really weird occurrence. But in 2007, I lost my Sony CyberShot digital camera. I was with my friends taking pictures. I left it.
Slow down. You're talking so fast, and you're sounding a lot like one of those Gen Zers.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Let me slow down a little bit. In 2007, so I'm reading this Reddit post. In 2007, I lost my Sony CyberShot digital camera. I was with my friends taking pictures, and I left it on the steps of a school. Went back later, and it wasn't there. I was so sad. The memory card was huge and had years worth of photos on it. Fast forward 4 to 6 months after I lost this camera. Me and my bestie are walking along a completely different street, and I happen to see a memory card on the floor. Grab it, cuz why not? It was mine, the one from my stolen camera. It seems very obvious, right? Someone found it and took the memory card and tossed it. Cool. I live in Brooklyn, New York. My neighborhood is home to, I think, like 129,000 people. How on earth did I find this memory card month later, 20 blocks from where it was lost? Like, of all the places I looked that day, my eyes looked down and saw my memory card. Just crazy. This stuff happens to me a lot. I just keep sharing them. Yeah, so that's pretty weird, right? I don't know. I mean, not everything here could be attributed to a different universe, but some of them could, if you believe in that. Like, somehow you shifted your consciousness.
Yeah.
Especially that collective amnesia one is really weird.
Anyway, so, what do you think?
Even if you believe in the quantum mechanics many worlds theory, it doesn't give you an explanation on why these macroscopic phenomena would happen, right?
It certainly doesn't. It certainly doesn't. It doesn't help anything. It's an interesting and fun. I mean, I think fun is the idea. It's stimulating, intellectually, emotionally, but it doesn't solve the measurement problem. You still need to somebody thinks they're angels.
Yeah, my friend Alicia thinks they're ghosts, aliens, or
Mhm.
angels. I'm gonna say ghosts, aliens, and angels all
Yeah,
conspire together.
right.
Especially for that the guy with the socks that kept coming off, you know.
Anyway, let's. I would. I'm
All right,
gonna.
that's what I'm gonna
I'm gonna
say.
suggest
All
we
right,
wrap it up.
we will wrap it up.
And
So with that said, another exciting, interesting episode. Hopefully,
what episode? 194. This was.
this is episode 194. You
Isn't
know
that
what?
amazing? That's fantastic.
Episode
You know.
194. Many worlds
Yeah.
here. Yes, it is.
Mhm.
That's amazing. So if you haven't seen the first 193 episodes, and maybe you can at some point. And
Right.
if you're living 1,000 years in the future and have no idea how to get the last
The,
193 episodes,
that's right. These are artifacts that we're communicating with people thousands of years in the future, because
there you go.
I don't think that this is ever going to, um, break apart or decompose the way old film has. So you
That's
heard me
right.
mention that. Yeah.
So
Okay.
with that said, lastly, I gotta say, support show patreon.com/SG2 on space. I forgot to say this
Like,
at the beginning,
share,
but
subscribe,
like, share, subscribe. Thank you,
Arr.
Powell Baker, Sam
Talk like
Welsh,
a
Tim
pirate.
Rock, and talk like a pirate if you wish. I don't know why you just did that, but great. So with all that said, look up because you never know what you will see. See you all next week for another wonderful time.
Bitcha.
All right. Mwah.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.